Spike Lee's The 25th Hour from 2002 was his last perfect joint that he did. Spike Lee likes to call his films joints. And it is better than his two most previous masterworks, the Five Bloods and Black Klansman. Although Black Klansman does come really close to achieving true cinematic greatness, it it only does it comes close. It doesn't actually reach that pinnacle. And The Five Bloods, again, similar kind of story. It doesn't reach that pinnacle of greatness. Whereas The 25th Hour was Spike Lee's last perfect joint, his last truly great joint that he did. Yeah, I would call 25th Hour after Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X Spike Lee's best joint. I really do think so. Yeah, one of the things that really that really makes Spike Lee's things work so well is he almost has like a Martin Scorsese, Orson Welles kind of take to his films, the way that he directs things, like the way that he positions the cameras and uses colors in certain things, like whether it's a lighting scheme or color palettes. All that stuff is really well done, and even if it doesn't really serve the purpose or like the narrative or something, it's just really interesting, and I really like that. And with the 25th Hour, the way that Lee is able to incorporate all of his tricks of the trade, it's just perfect. It's just beyond great to me, and it is one of his best. Yeah, it is one of his best directed films that he's ever made, to me at least. And the movie was set. It was made during pre-production stages. It was before 9/11, but when 9/11 happened in 2001, it Spike Lee chose to kind of incorporate that backdrop into the movie. He didn't want to ignore it. It was a very dark time in American history, so why ignore it? It's important stuff. In fact, people like to consider the 25th Hour one of the best films about 9/11 that's happened. Even though they don't acknowledge anything, you still have they still show lots of like the ground zero. They show that, and a lot of people becoming whether somebody becomes like a racist or something. Like Edward Norton, there's one part in the film where he just delivers this massive rant and saying that he hates everyone and everything. Now that was really well done, and one could argue. I'm not saying myself, of course, but one could argue that it was 9/11 that really caused that to happen. Like that rant. But what's the movie actually about? Like, what's the storyline to it? Edward Norton plays a low-level drug dealer in New York named Monty Brogan, who is sentenced to 7 years in prison. He has one final day of being a free man. His best friends are high school teacher Philip Seymour Hoffman, whose name is Jacob in the film, and Barry Pepper, who's on Wall Street, named Frank. His girlfriend is Rosario Dawson, and his father is played by Brian Cox. Everyone in this film really delivers. They really do their best in this. But Philip Seymour Hoffman and Edward Norton are really the only ones that I know have that have done better. I'm not trying to downgrade 25th Hour, but if you see things like Synecdoche, New York, and Capote, you'll know that Hoffman has done better. You see Primal Fear in American History X, you know that Norton's done better. But they're really good in this one too. Now the each of our characters they come to the realization that once Monty gets sentenced to prison, even though it's for 7 years, it's not a life sentence. That when he comes out, he's not going to be the same person as he was before. When he comes out, he's going to be someone totally different. So the Monty that they know and love is going to be no more. And frankly, that kind of sucks because they're like Monty's their best friend. He's their loved one. He's a son to Brian Cox, and he's not going to he's not going to really be himself anymore once his sentence finishes. So so his friends decide to show him a good time first. They but because it's something so because something so sad, they can't really have a really good time like in The Last Detail with Jack Nicholson or Andy Quaid. Can't really have much of a good time with that due to the movie's backdrop and knowing that their best friend is going to change drastically once he enters prison. Yeah, the movie is a really good friendship tale, and it does a really good job to depict with these relationships and all these characters are fully fleshed out. It's just brilliant the way that all the characters are fully realized. There are these two great scenes where they're just they're just for visionary's sake. Like they don't actually happen in the story. They're just in visions. One of them, as I mentioned, is the rant, and I think that's a very integral part of the story. So Monty blasts literally everyone that's in New York. So he says like f the police, f the Wall Street brokers, f the people in Harlem, f all the Asians. Then finally his reflection says back to him, "No, Monty, f you." So yeah, the movie is all like that's what the movie one of the themes of this is. Take responsibility for your own actions. It's Monty's fault that he's heading to prison. It's not anybody's fault that he got pinched or that he wasn't simply a better drug dealer. It's his fault. He chose his own destiny. And there's one other bit near the end where his father is about to drive him to prison, and there's this other big visionary thing where Monty could possibly choose his own destiny, but spoiler alert. But Monty decides to stick it out because he would like to pay for his penance his own way, and he knows just what he needs to do. Yeah, this movie, it's just so well done, and whenever I see it, it's always really impressive, and it is kind of heartbreaking, but it does get you to think. It gets you to think things like, it's your mistake, and just look in the mirror. Yeah, 25th Hour, one of Spike Lee's best films. I give it 4 stars.